Mayor Kaler.
Present. Commissioner Abraham will do our invocation tonight, and our Pledge of Allegiance will be given after the invocation by Catherine Winfield, and she's a Paducah Tillman High School senior. Thank you for being here tonight. Everyone will stand, please.
Our Father which art in heaven, we thank you so much for today. We thank you so much for each other. Remind us, Holy Spirit, why we are here, to uplift each other, to pray for those who are weak, to try our best to live up to the standard that Yeshua set for us. These things we ask in Yeshua's name. Amen.
Amen. Catherine.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. City Manager, are there any additions or deletions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So tonight we have a couple of presentations. First, we have our Lowertown Arts and Music Festival update. Michael and Victoria. Lindsay, are you helping with this too? And Lindsay.
We've got presents for people.
Yep, Michael, pass them out.
Cookies.
No, they're harder than that. And, usually we're doing this in the summer, but Michael and I have been so busy. So you guys get an extra bonus. You can have our income and expenses summary as well.
Oh.
Aren't you all on top of
It's
it?
done. I don't know. We'll give it. Wasn't his gift party.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Little wall swag.
On the wall swag.
I know they're not presents.
I can never wait.
Obviously, can we open them now?
I can never wait.
We should open one at a time, make a lot of noise. Little mustard on them, that'll be delicious. Actually, lots of thanks, of course, to you guys collectively, individually, for all of the support that the city provides the festival from year to year. And
Couldn't do it without you guys.
I wouldn't want to, actually.
Yeah,
I
that's
wouldn't
so
want
true.
to. The festival was a tremendous success last year, even though we had the crappiest weather ever. We still we counted over 11,000 people, I think, coming to the festival, even with storms on Friday and Saturday. So that speaks really well of the following that we have and the loyalty that the city has for the festival. Transitioning in this year and into the next few years, we've got some big festival news. This will be my last year as the co-director of the festival, and I will be passing my co-director's torch to the Yiser in the guise of this wonderful woman here. So then Victoria and the Yiser will be co-directors of the festival for the following 3 years. And then we'll see what happens. But we're kind of hoping that the festival will slide under the aegis of a bricks and mortar arts organization.
Woohoo!
Yeah. So that's so everything is kind of bubbling along according to plan.
Yeah,
You've got a good partner there.
Yeah.
You've got a great partner with Yiser.
Oh,
And Lindsay.
kidding.
Does an amazing job.
We are super excited to move into this role, so we think it's going to be a
Yeah,
great fit.
it's such a win-win. It's a perfect fit for both of the organizations, and both of them will benefit. So, we're happy.
So contrary to popular opinion, I'm not going to be visiting Mars after the end of next year. I'm actually still going to be working with the festival, but I will not be a director. I'll take one of the committee chair positions and continue to volunteer. But
Yeah, because you can't get rid of us that quickly.
Nor would we want to.
Thank you all for your.
So, Mike, I only have one question. Could you give me 30 minutes of why you've made this decision?
I could, and at a more appropriate time in a better venue. Do you guys have any questions about the upcoming year or anything else?
I don't have any questions. I'd just like to comment that I remember the first one and see it grow the way it has, and transition is always it's always happening. How you handle that is very important, and when you have staff and other folks that paid attention, that's been right in there, you feel a lot comfortable about that transition. Change always happens. How we handle that change depends on the work that we've done before it happens. So I applaud you for that, and it looks like the festival will be in great hands.
Yeah,
Great hands.
Well, once you guys can give us what are the dates? A few things. I know you announced all the lineup the other night, so
Surprise. No. May 13th and 14th
that's what I thought. Yeah.
this year. We have more artists. We have some new food vendors
Oh, yeah.
coming
great-
on. We've
great
got
new
more.
food.
Yeah, it's been pretty exciting. More local restaurants are really wanting to get involved.
And a great music lineup.
Oh
Great
my
music
gosh.
lineup.
Yeah.
So this year, something that was new is that the symphony decided that they didn't want to arrange the music anymore. And Seth Murphy, who was with the symphony when the symphony very first started doing this, he was their intern. And then he had moved to Lexington, and the symphony still paid him. And so now he is just another director. So he is our music director, and he is amazing. He's really community-minded. He's more than we imagined how awesome he would be.
And I think the Lowertown Arts and Music Festival is a great example of what happens when government is supportive, but the passion is generated by the folks that actually do the work in the community. And you all are the ones that make that happen, and you have that passion for it. Government doesn't do those kind of things well. It takes very talented people like yourselves, and I want to thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. We really appreciate it.
All right. All right, we won't take up any more of your time.
We'll be there May 13th, right?
13th and 14th.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you for the gift.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, our next presentation is the Paducah chapter of the National Society of the Daughter of the American Revolution, and we have Cheryl Bendix here tonight to talk about a wonderful event that we're putting together.
Yes, and I really would like to thank you, Mayor Kaler, and also the commissioners for allowing me to be here this evening, and especially you, Mayor, for all of the help that you have afforded us. And I can tell you that I've spoken with the Vietnam veterans, and they were very excited to have you speak before them on that day, March 29th, Tuesday. And they had wonderful, wonderful things to say about their mayor.
Thank you.
So they're really looking forward to you being there. This event was started through the 50th anniversary commemoration of the Vietnam War. And the Department of Defense began this program really started in 2015, but it was commissioned earlier. The Paducah chapter became a partner through them in 2014. And the job of each partner, of which there are nearly 9,000 across not just the nation, but across the world, because we do have veterans living overseas. And our job is to provide at least 2 events per year, no less than 2 events, in an effort over this 3-year period to reach out to every single Vietnam veteran or their family members. There were approximately 9 million soldiers, veterans who worked, in the field. They worked in all sorts of capacities, and not just in the war, but they were, sent to other places. There were also many civilians who worked and supported the soldiers as they were over there. And this is also to thank every single person, even the families and the residents here at home who supported our troops during that extremely difficult time. Our job, as we were sent a letter by the Veterans Affairs Secretary, Robert McDonald, had asked all of the partners to designate Tuesday, March 29th, 2016, as the official Welcome Home Vietnam Veteran Day, and to schedule events on that day to honor our veterans. And so the Paducah chapter, it started out a small thing. We were going to be at the county courthouse, and we will be there all day. We have some events scheduled there with posters and a lot of information concerning the Vietnam War and a timeline of the events of that day. We also will be preparing certificates and printing them for each Vietnam veteran that comes up, a certificate of appreciation from the National Society Daughters of the American Revolution. We will also have our official flag. I'm going to show you. This is the official commemoration flag of the 50th anniversary. And these are only given to partners of the commemoration. Show it to the audience. We are never allowed to loan this flag out. It stays with each partner as they do each of their events. And even though we are a partner with the Department of Defense, we do not speak for them. But this flag will be on display in the McCracken County Courthouse. We are also going to put yellow ribbons around the trees on the courthouse lawn. At 10 a.m., we are going to have a ceremony at the Dolly McNutt Memorial Plaza, and we will lay a wreath, to dedicate a wreath at the Vietnam War Monument. At that time, I heard yesterday that the Patriot Guard would be coming. I know that Sandy Hart, I got to talk to her today. She will be coming, and there will probably be others. Michael Swinford has asked to speak on that day. He is with the Veterans Voice and also will be the representative from the Vietnam Veterans Group here in Paducah. And so we're really honored to have all these people to be there that day, and of course, you, Mayor. We will have Paducah Tillman Junior, Naval Junior ROTC will present the colors. And I think it's going to turn out to be a really nice day. We have already written to the National Weather Service and told them that they were to hold off all rain. We're supposed to have sunny skies, I hope. And we just hope that all of you could be there that day. Set aside a little bit of time at 10 a.m. to come down there. We would also like as many Paducah residents to come down. Not just, we want, what we want is for our Vietnam veterans to finally feel like they have gotten the welcome home that they deserved. And we are there to thank them and to honor them on that day. And we would just, it doesn't make any difference how they served, whether they were in country, in theater, or serving in another way. All were called to duty and they served. So we just hope that as many of you can be there, and we really appreciate the opportunity to present this to you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And, I think that's true. There's two things that it's never too late to say, and that's thank you and I'm sorry.
Exactly.
We certainly will be there to thank them for their service.
Okay, and the other thing, every Vietnam veteran who comes that day, or if they have a living family member, we will present them with one of the gift bags that came through the commemoration committee, and it has the official buttons and some stickers that say "A Grateful Nation thanks and honors you."
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
29th at 10 o'clock.
10 a.m.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I saw John Berry last night. I invited him to come to the event. So, on to our motions. Minutes, Commissioner Abraham.
I move that the reading of the minutes for March 15th, 2016 City Commission meeting be waived and that the minutes of said meetings prepared by the city clerk be approved as written.
Second?
Any questions on the minutes? City Clerk.
Commissioner Abraham?
Aye.
Commissioner Galt?
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Kayler?
Aye. Under motions, Commissioner Galt, please.
I move that the following documents be received and filed. Documents, certificates of liability insurance, Wilkins Construction Company, Inc., Imping Lawson Construction, LLC, A&K Construction, Inc., GNC Multi-Services, LLC. Deed with Thomas and Madonna Humphrey for 1020 Lincoln Avenue, quitclaim deed with Aaron Prather for 1116 Oscar Cross Avenue, quitclaim deed with Brad Otterburn for 228 South 17th Street. Release of mortgage for Early Waxton of 945 Martin Luther King Drive and Rosia Keeping for 947 Martin Luther King Drive. Contracts and agreements, lease with Paducah Chiefs Baseball Club, LLC for 2400 Brooks Stadium Drive. Change order number 1 with Environmental Abatement, Inc. for 432 Broadway demolition. Luther F. Carson for River Center 2014-2015 Annual Report. Edward J. Paxton Financial Statements for calendar year 2015. City of Paducah Financial Report for period ending December 31st, 2015.
Second.
Thank you. City Clerk.
Commissioner Abraham?
Aye.
Commissioner Galt?
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Kayler?
Aye. So we have several municipal orders tonight. Commissioner Rhodes, you had the first one.
Upon the recommendation of the city manager, the Board of Commissioners of the City of Paducah, Kentucky, order that the personal changes on the attachment list be approved.
Steve?
Good evening, Mayor,
Second.
Commissioners.
A second, please.
Notably, hiring a couple police officers. I'm sure Chief Barnhill will be here at some subsequent date to introduce you. They're already existing officers. This is, don't have to start them at the bottom rung or send them to the academy, so it's a major advantage to the city.
Any questions? No. City Clerk.
Commissioner Abraham?
Aye.
Commissioner Galt?
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Kayler?
Aye. Commissioner Wilson.
I move that a municipal order entitled, "A Municipal Order Amending Sections A, E, and H of the Fiscal Year 2015-2016 Position and Pay Schedule for certain full-time employees of the City of Paducah, Kentucky" be adopted.
Second.
Okay, Steve.
Allow me to go through this. We're doing a number of things here. One is a significant reorganization of staff resources in the Engineering Public Works Department. By this action, we're asking you to eliminate the position of Superintendent of Solid Waste, and we're doing that for the purpose of creating an Assistant Public Works Director job. We've had some, I won't say difficulty, but the nature of how the level of complication and background and ability that position requires quite a bit more capability, and so reorganizing around that, creating a position of Assistant Public Works Director, and then not filling and eliminating the superintendent's job. It would also add another supervisor to that division. That's the only division with one supervisor. The other divisions, streets and some of the other ones have more than one supervisor in them. And this one only has one existing, so it would create an additional one. It would rename a vacant position in the engineering division of the department right now. It's called Engineering Assistant 1. We would just simply rename that, not regrade that one. That one is budgeted and authorized, but has been unfilled. We just want to change the name of that one. We want to reclassify an existing vacant traffic technician position and make it a maintenance tech position. No budget impact on that one. After the adding positions and taking away positions after tonight, it will add one authorized person to the department that will not be filled, and will come back at a later time, and we will eliminate another management position when it becomes available. So it won't be neutral in positions tonight, but in the near future, it'll go back to 77.
Any questions for Steve? All right, City Clerk.
Commissioner Abraham?
Aye.
Commissioner Galt?
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Kayler?
Aye. Commissioner Abraham.
I move that a municipal order entitled, a municipal order adopting an amendment to the 2015-2016 pay grade schedule for the employees of the City of Paducah, Kentucky be adopted.
Second.
This is more or less a companion table to that previous action to move the slots around, eliminate slots, move them to various grades, and take care of that in the companion table. This table doesn't authorize hiring. It just sets the grades for what we pay these various folks. So we add the new position of Assistant Public Works Director. We rename the one engineering assistant position and eliminate the superintendent position.
Okay. Thanks, Steve. City Clerk, please.
Commissioner Abraham?
Aye.
Commissioner Galt?
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Kayler?
Aye. Commissioner Galt, you have the next one.
I move that a municipal order entitled, "A Municipal Order Adopting City of Paducah, Kentucky Public Housing Agency Annual Plan for Section 8 Existing Housing for Fiscal Year beginning July 2016" be adopted.
Second.
Hi, Danny.
Hello. The next three is the regular Section 8 adjustments each year. We are supposed to do update our annual plan each year, do updates to our administrative plan, and revise our utility allowances. No major changes this year.
How many vouchers do you manage?
We are authorized to do right at 576. The funds restrict us to about 420.
Any questions for Danny?
Nope.
All right, City Clerk.
Commissioner Abraham?
Aye.
Commissioner Galt?
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Kayler?
Aye.
Okay.
Commissioner Rhodes, you're next.
All right. Okay, I move that a municipal order entitled, "A Municipal Order Adopting the City of Paducah, Kentucky Housing Agency 2016 Administrative Plan for Section 8 Housing" be adopted.
Second.
Danny?
The only two on this one, we are adopting the published fair market rent as our payment standard. There was quite a bit of adjustment this year. Usually they're lower than what the market allows, but this year they kind of stepped up to where we can comfortably adopt right at the fair market rent. And we've added the administration of the Veterans Affairs Supported Housing Program that we got funding for back in April of last year. That was for 17 vouchers for homeless veterans.
How's that program going?
We have 10 under contract. We can only take referrals from the Veterans Administration, So right now we've got 10 under contract, and we've got about 9 more referrals. We did receive 17 vouchers for that support.
Good. All right, City Clerk.
Commissioner Abraham,
Aye.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Mayor Kayler.
Aye. Commissioner Wilson.
I move the municipal order entitled, "A Municipal Order Adopting Revisions of the Utility Allowances for the Section 8 Housing Program as required by the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 as revised," be adopted.
Second.
On these, we're adjusting utility allowances that we deduct as a deduction off the tenant's rent. And you can see the sewer and water increase, gas, propane, and electricity decreased.
Okay. City Clerk.
Commissioner Abraham,
Aye.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Mayor Kayler.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. You do a great job. Thank you. Commissioner Abraham.
I move that a municipal order entitled, "A Municipal Order Authorizing the Mayor to Execute a 2016-2017 Kentucky Household Hazardous Waste Grant Application and all documents necessary through the Kentucky Division of Waste Management in the amount of $25,500 to assist in funding the City-County Annual Cleanup Day," be adopted.
Second.
Hi, Steve.
Hello. 24 years now.
Yeah.
The match is split with the county, so
Always successful.
busy day.
I'm glad you, it used to always be during spring break, so I'm glad this year it's not.
Do you have a truckload of stuff to take?
More than a truckload. Yes, I could.
You know, the trick to that is that you find somebody who's got even a bigger truck than you have that's in front of you, and you go up and say, "Look, if I can put my junk in your truck, let me pay you some money so I don't have to sit in this line for hours."
Yeah, that's the way to do
That's
it.
your trick.
I've done it. Sure have. It wasn't
Okay,
much.
City Clerk.
Commissioner Abraham,
Aye.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Mayor Kayler.
Aye. Commissioner Galt.
I move that a municipal order entitled, "A Municipal Order Authorizing the Mayor to Execute an Application and all documents necessary to obtain a 2016-2017 Law Enforcement Services Fee Grant in an amount up to $18,901.20 from the Kentucky Justice Cabinet for the Paducah Police Department to operate a one-year DUI enforcement program," be adopted.
Second.
Good evening, Mayor, Commission. Here again, our annual application for this grant award. This is the grant we call LSF, or the DUI grant. This year we're applying for $18,901, as you mentioned. We have a cash match of just under $155, which we'll be able to take out of the general fund budget.
Good. All right, City Clerk.
Commissioner Abraham,
Aye.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Mayor Kayler.
Aye. Commissioner Rhodes.
All right. I move that a municipal order entitled, "A Municipal Order Approving and Authorizing the Mayor's Execution of a Permanent Utility Easement and Temporary Construction Easement to the Commissioners of Water Works, the City of Paducah, DBA Paducah Water." Wait a minute. For construction of a 24-inch main transmission water main through the Paducah Police Station parking lot on the property owned by the City of Paducah, be adopted.
Second.
Mayor, Commission, Jason Peterson, who works for Paducah Water, is here with us this evening. But just so everybody's on the same page, they've been working on a redundant line to come over to Kentucky Avenue, had that line out from underneath Kentucky Avenue so as not to disrupt that. We've worked together on that. But as we move forward in the future, we've got two projects that's on our forefront, the park, the health park at 14th and Martin Luther King. This water line is actually going to be going through or adjacent to that, so this is in coordination with that park and with that redundant line, as well as traversing over and going through our police department parking lot to make that connection with Paducah Water. So it's one has to come before the other, but that's been well coordinated between ourselves and Paducah Water, and this easement just lays the groundwork for that work to begin.
Thank you. Any questions? City Clerk?
Commissioner Abraham?
Aye.
Commissioner Galt?
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Kayler?
Aye. Commissioner Wilson?
I move that a municipal order entitled, "A Municipal Order Approving and Authorizing the Mayor's Execution of a Permanent Utility Easement and Temporary Construction Easement to the Commissioners of Waterworks, the City of Paducah, DBA Paducah Water, for construction of a 24-inch transmission water main along North 14th Street on property owned by the City of Paducah, known as the Health Park, located at 421 North 13th Street," be adopted.
Second.
Any questions for?
No, I know everybody's just excited about that
I know.
space being utilized. So fun. Just,
Well, another thing too is it shows the organizations working together at no cost to each other.
right.
I mean, we have assets, they have needs. We're just working together to get it done.
Teamwork.
And put that on a sticker on a T-shirt.
Yeah.
What was that? Working together, what?
Can you say it again?
I thought it was just do it.
It's Nike.
Yeah, there you go. No excuse.
Jason, we give
Get it done.
City Clerk?
Explain why we're having the water main, because it's, I mean, I know, but that's my board I serve on.
Sure. Well, there are several reasons. The primary feed from the plant into the distribution system is a 30-inch pre-stressed concrete main, and this will provide a second redundant line as well as enhance the capacity of the overall system. So there's a major trunk line that runs down Kentucky Avenue adjacent to the corridor that's just been constructed through the transportation cabinet. So this will provide an alternate feed and will increase the reliability and the capacity throughout our entire distribution system. So this is a significant project for us, and we'll be excited to have it completed.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. City Clerk?
Commissioner Abraham?
Aye.
Commissioner Galt?
Aye.
Commissioner Rhodes?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Kayler?
Aye. We're going to have some ordinances for introduction, so we don't vote on those tonight. Commissioner Abraham?
I move that the Board of Commissioners introduce an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance Authorizing the Mayor to Execute a Grant Agreement and All Documents Relating Thereto with the Kentucky Department for Local Government for a 2015 Recreational Trails Grant Program Award." This ordinance is summarized as follows. The City of Paducah hereby authorizes the mayor to execute a grant agreement and all documents relating thereto with the Kentucky Department of Local Government for a 2015 Recreational Trails Grant Program Award in the amount of $68,095 for construction of a 1/3 mile walking trail in the health park located at 421 North 13th Street. The funds required for the match is $171,405. Will be provided by the Foundation for a Healthy Kentucky, Investing in Kentucky's Future grant.
Second.
Steve?
With these funds in hand, we'll only be waiting on one last clear from one of the agencies, and that's the Land and Waters grant, which we're still expecting to get hopefully within the next couple of weeks, and we'll actually be able to go out to bid on the project here fairly soon. So as this is for phase one of the project. So I know we have a June 20th date now set for the Rotary to start the playground, where hopefully the clearance will come in within the next couple of weeks so we can start moving on that application. So.
City Clerk? We're not voting on this one. So, Commissioner Galt?
I move that the Board of Commissioners introduce an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance Authorizing the Mayor to Execute an Engagement Agreement for Legal Representation in the Cable Communication Franchise Renewal Process and to handle other cable communication issues." This ordinance is summarized as follows: that the Mayor is hereby authorized to execute an engagement agreement with Moss and Barnett in an amount not to exceed $25,000 for legal representation in the Cable Communications Franchise Renewal Process and to handle other cable communication issues.
Second.
Pam?
Hello. This is just an engagement agreement with Moss & Barnett. We used Moss & Barnett 10 years ago when we did our franchise agreement with Comcast. Our agreement expires this November, and we're planning to work with Moss & Barnett with their chief attorney that has telecommunications law background, Brian Grogan, work with him again to go through updating our ordinance and drafting the agreement to take before Comcast.
Does that agreement have anything in it like requiring certain things of them, community involvement, anything like that?
It has not necessarily community involvement, but it has customer service type things that we have in there. It has like making sure that you have a certain number of channels available to the community and having some base channels, so some of the packages that they offer, but not necessarily on rates or how they get involved with the community besides the community service, because in our ordinance we do have the requirement for them to have a local office, and we want to make sure to keep that.
One of the reasons.
Do you have that in there?
Well, one of the things we want Mr. Grogan to do at the onset is to review our existing ordinance to determine if there are any changes that need to be made to it to reflect regulatory changes at the federal or state level. This comes up every 10 years, and as I'm sure everybody can appreciate, the landscape changes a lot in that decade because of new technology. I think in our case also increased competition with all the wireless providers out there, and now kind of a movement towards interbase service. So compared to when cable systems first were built 40 years ago, cities have been progressively removed or pulled back from a regulatory mode as the feds have stepped in more and the state have stepped in more. Quite frankly, competition has arguably reduced the need for regulation because of the effectively, I think, the bar being raised through competitive through competition, which is a good thing. So we need to first review this. We have a very complete ordinance. In fact, Mr. Grogan, I think, was the primary author of it. And by and large, I think the emphasis for us is going to be on retaining as much of it as we can, although there are probably some issues we'll want to put on the table as well. Bear in mind, this is not so much a direct agreement with Comcast as it is us adopting a franchise that Comcast or any other provider could come forward and access. This is not an exclusive franchise. It's one that would effectively be available to anyone who wanted to come in and provide that service, as unlikely as it would be that a second wire cable TV provider would overbuild an incumbent, especially in this day and age when you have other means of providing cable service without the hardwire approach that defined, I think, the industry for at least 3 decades.
I have a question. And it may not be in this arena, but it may. When viewing our commission meetings on the network, is it closed caption?
I don't believe it is. TV may, I think you can turn on your closed captioning and it might pick it up. I'm not sure if it is.
And the reason I ask that is that we have we have folks in our community that can't hear, and we don't have an interpreter here. That's been something that I feel like it's been lacking for a long time here at City Hall, and we need to address that at some point, discuss it, figure out how we want to do that. I remember being in Frankfurt at the governor's inauguration. There was interpreters, there were signers. There's other events that happen on TV. Government, some municipals have that service. If we talk about customer service, I think that would go a long way into settling a lot of folks. And I guess I bring that up because I work with special needs, and we can hear. We don't really think about it, but there is a population of citizens out there that can't. And depending on the type of TV you have, you may you may have closed caption and you may not. So
That's an easy question to put before Mr. Grogan, is are we in a position to ask the cable provider through the franchise to provide closed captioning?
And I believe we did research at one time having sign language interpreters here, and it was expensive because they're paid by the hour and they can only sign for a certain amount of time, and then you'd have to bring another interpreter in. So if we can talk to Comcast about closed captioning, that would be good.
So much changes in 10 years. I know one of the big issues last time around was a more powerful system out there. I think is it 750 megahertz now, and talk about increasing it to 1,000. Well, that never happened. But with new digital technology, they're driving a whole lot more bandwidth out of the same size system as what they were before. So, again, technology changes so much. I think it's important that at some point in time, I expect we'll have a public hearing on this, hopefully before the City Commission. But I think it's important that we determine with Mr. Grogan what it is that we would ask the public to come forward to comment on, because the last thing we would want to do is ask for comments on things that we're not in a position locally to affect or influence by way of the ordinance. So we need clarification on those things, and Brian Grogan is probably the foremost authority in the country on these matters. I used him in an earlier life 25 years ago, and I was pleased to hear that the City of Paducah had used him as well. So he's familiar with us and our processes.
Maybe his last go-around with us. He was every 10 years.
Well, it's different 10 years from city to city, but he stays busy, I know, too.
Thank you, Pam. City Manager's report.
I want to join the Commission in thanking everybody that participated in the City Hall public engagement process last night. I think it was very productive. I also want to thank Steve Irvin for his participation in the schematic design group and leadership there, as well as the other four who serve on that. I think we had over 40 citizens attend and participate. It was constructive, and we obtained some good information that is being tabulated as we speak and will be presented to the Commission and I think put on our website in a few days. The next step in that process will be a presentation by Ratio Architects to the City Commission next month on the two schematic designs and all that was involved in that and what they represent. There was some input last night around the issue of other approaches in addition to a new build and a complete renovation. Nothing has been eliminated. It's at this point in time, information was requested from professional architect on those two options. I think the value of that is that it produced, as the architect said last night, the grand vision, if you will, with respect to what could be done with either of those two options. And I think it gives the Commission a clear vision to look at it, whether you want to do something that extensive or do something less. I think your vision from that perspective is going to be superior to what it would be if you approached it in kind of a build-up, one step at a time, not knowing what really the next steps would produce without the benefit of the professional analysis with the input from citizens that has taken place to date. So again, that's proceeding, and we'll be back next month on it. I want to, I think that's all I had before I ask Rick Murphy to give the Commission and the public an update on the Pavilion project and the preparations for that site, and also the transportation elements between that site and the Convention Center for the upcoming quilt show.
Mayor, Commission, I'd like to celebrate this evening with you that your contractor, A&K Construction, has done a monumental job of getting the site prepared. Actually, they're beyond substantial completion. If we needed to go and put the dome material on today, we could, but we've got that scheduled for Monday coming up. Everything there is going very well. We expect to be totally complete with that job on schedule. And the work that you see on 6th Street and coming out of the convention center, you may note that as you come out of the convention center, you're going to see new sidewalks on the right-hand side as you're going out of the flood wall opening that I showed you last week. New sidewalk going from that opening down Park Avenue. 2 new sidewalks going down 6th Street to provide pedestrian access from the convention center freely to the Dome relocated site. It's going to look very nice when it's completed. I'd also like to thank Midwest Terminal, who have been very cooperative and instrumental in working with us freely with that. I mean, because we've been disrupting their business a little bit as we try to make these improvements. They've been very understanding with us and just working hand in glove with us. So, but that area down around Campbell Street, and talk to you about that a little bit. Campbell Street that runs from 8th to 6th Street. We know that we have some work on Campbell Street. We won't have an opportunity to get to that this year, but we hope to get to that in the trailing portion of this year, maybe, as budgets allow. It's not an oversight. It's just we're trying to get that work along the 6th Street corridor where we'll be receiving and offloading guests to and from the Dome site. That area there is fixed as well as it can be.
Can you give us just a brief update on, is the river cooperating?
No.
No. Someone asked me, and I said, that
the river has been very
calls the shots there.
The river has been very fickle this year. You recall in December, right around Christmas, we were having high water. That high water has impeded, I guess, the work in the river. Such that MAC Construction has not been granted the opportunity of river elevations to put their loading, offloading facility. Recall that they're going to bring in their rock by barge and not by trucking it. So they're going to rebuild their landing facility, and the river conditions have not allowed them to do that. However, they have been encouraged to move everything on the high ground as far as all the work they can do that's a part of that project that's not impacted by the river, to get all that work done that they can. So they're working diligently on that. They have been absent. They've gone back to Jeffersonville, Indiana, or New Albany, because of the river conditions. But they realize that they have a tall order ahead of them on that. But again, when the river's high, we're not in a position to put rock where we need to. So,
right. And they'll have it finished by September.
That's the goal.
Right. They'll have it finished. Thank you. So tonight I'm wearing a beautiful dogwood pin made by Lori Vanderboe. And our Dogwood Trail is coming up this weekend. It's only the second time that the Dogwood Trail has started on Easter, and not on Easter, but in March. And I'm
Carol
not sure that it's ever, I'm sorry?
I'm just thinking Carol Vanderbilt. Carol.
Did I say that wrong?
I think you said Lori, maybe.
Oh.
Sorry. But yes, beautiful. And
she knows.
She does know. She made so many. She made so many. She does know.
So it's only the second time in March that we've had the Dogwood Trail. It starts Sunday, Easter Sunday. And I think they will be starting with the bus tour at Pat's this year for the lighted Dogwood Trail. So it'd be nice to have that this weekend. It's pretty cool, but
yeah.
Anything else?
It's exciting.
You ready for it?
All right. Any public comments? Okay, meeting's adjourned. We don't have an executive session.